Anna stood at the end of the narrow dirt road with a small bag in her hand. The sky was gray and heavy, and the air smelled of wet soil and old wood. In front of her stood the house that no one wanted. The walls were cracked, the paint had peeled away long ago, and the roof looked like it had given up fighting the rain. A broken gate leaned to one side, and tall weeds covered most of the yard. This was what her family had given her instead of an inheritance. Only a week earlier, Anna had been sitting quietly in the back room of her aunt's house, listening as the family talked about money and property. They spoke as if she was not there. When the decision was finally announced, everyone avoided her eyes. Her cousins received land, savings, and valuable items. Anna received the old house at the edge of town, a place no one had visited in years. Some of them smiled politely. Others looked relieved. One of her uncles even said it was better than nothing. Anna nodded and said thank you, even though her chest felt heavy. She had no strength to argue. She had already learned that her voice carried little weight in that room. Now she was here, standing alone before the house, wondering if accepting it had been a mistake. Anna had grown up hearing stories about this place. People said it was unsafe. People said it was cursed by bad luck. Some said it was built on land that never brought peace to anyone who lived there. Over the years, the stories had grown darker, even though no one could explain why. Anna did not believe in stories. She believed in hard work and patience. Still, as she pushed the gate open, a strange feeling passed through her. The gate made a loud sound as it moved, and birds flew away from the nearby trees. She stepped into the yard slowly. The ground was uneven, and broken stones were scattered everywhere. Near the front door, a wooden step had cracked in half. Anna placed her foot carefully and reached for the door handle. The door was heavier than she expected. When it opened, dust filled the air, and the smell of old rooms rushed out. Anna covered her mouth for a moment, then stepped inside. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Sunlight came in through broken windows, lighting up the dust floating in the air. The floor creaked under her feet. Furniture sat covered in white sheets, as if someone had left in a hurry and never returned. On one wall, an old clock hung crooked, its hands frozen at the same time forever. Anna walked slowly from room to room. The living area was large but empty. The kitchen had broken cabinets and a sink that looked unused for years. In the back, a narrow hallway led to two small rooms. One had a broken bed frame. The other was completely empty. She placed her bag down and sat on the floor. The house felt cold, even though it was not winter. Anna wrapped her arms around herself and took a deep breath. This was her home now, at least for the time being. Memories began to surface as she sat there. Anna remembered being a quiet child, always trying not to take up too much space. After her parents passed away, she was moved between relatives like an object that no one wanted to keep for too long. She learned early not to expect much. She worked wherever she could, saved what little money she earned, and dreamed of one day having a place of her own. This house was not the dream she imagined, but it was still hers. That thought gave her a small sense of strength. She stood up and decided to clean at least one room before night fell. As she removed the sheets from the furniture, dust rose again. She coughed but continued. The table under one sheet was strong, even though it looked old. The chairs were scratched but usable. Not everything was ruined. As Anna cleaned, she noticed something strange. The house felt less cold than before. It was as if the place was slowly waking up. In the corner of the living area, she found a small wooden cabinet. Unlike the other furniture, it was locked. The lock was old but not broken. Anna touched it lightly, then stepped back. She told herself she would deal with it later. There was no rush. By evening, the light outside began to fade. Anna used her phone to light a small lamp she had brought with her. The shadows in the house grew longer. Every sound felt louder. A board creaked somewhere above, even though there was no second floor. She considered leaving for the night, but the road back was long, and she had nowhere else to go. She decided to stay. Anna made a simple meal from the food she carried and ate slowly, sitting on the floor. As she ate, she looked around the room. Despite its condition, the house had a strange calm to it. It did not feel angry or broken. It felt forgotten. Later, she laid a blanket on the floor of the back room and lay down. Sleep did not come easily. Every small noise made her open her eyes. The wind passed through the cracks in the walls, creating soft sounds like whispers. At some point, Anna sat up. She had heard something. It was not loud. It was not frightening. It sounded like a gentle tap, coming from somewhere inside the house. Anna held her breath and listened. The sound came again. Tap. Pause. Tap. It was coming from the living area. She stood slowly, holding her phone tightly. Her heart beat faster, but she forced herself to stay calm. She told herself it could be wood moving, or something loose falling. Old houses made sounds. That was normal. She walked into the living area. The lamp cast soft light across the room. Everything looked the same. Then she noticed the wooden cabinet. The door of the cabinet was slightly open. Anna was sure she had left it closed. She stood still, staring at it. The tapping sound stopped. The house returned to silence. For a moment, she thought about closing it and going back to bed. But curiosity pushed her forward. She stepped closer and gently opened the cabinet door fully. Inside, she found a small box wrapped in cloth. Anna lifted it carefully and placed it on the table. Her hands shook slightly as she unwrapped the cloth. Inside the box were papers, old photographs, and a small metal key. She picked up one photograph. It showed a younger woman standing in front of the same house. The woman's expression was calm, almost hopeful. On the back of the photo, a name was written in faded ink. The name was Anna. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked through the rest of the papers. Some were letters. Some were documents she did not yet understand. All of them seemed carefully placed, as if someone wanted them to be found at the right time. Anna sat down slowly, the box still open in front of her. Questions filled her mind. Why was her name here? Who had left these things? And why had no one in her family ever mentioned them? Outside, the wind moved through the trees again. Inside, the house felt warmer than before. Anna realized that the ruined house was hiding a story. A story that might change everything she thought she knew about her family, her past, and her future. And this was only the beginning. Anna sat quietly at the old table, the small box still open in front of her. Morning light entered the room through the broken window, touching the papers and photographs like gentle hands. She had barely slept, her thoughts circling around the strange discovery again and again. The house felt different now, no longer empty or forgotten. It felt like it was watching her, waiting. She picked up the papers one by one, reading slowly. Some pages were yellow with age. Others looked newer, written carefully in neat handwriting. The letters spoke of daily life, small worries, hopes for the future, and deep regrets. They were written by the same woman in the photograph, the woman who shared her name. Anna. The first letter spoke of the house being built many years ago. It described the land, the effort, and the dream behind it. The woman wrote about wanting a safe place, a place that could not be taken away easily. She wrote about trusting family and believing that kindness would be returned with honesty. Anna felt a quiet sadness as she read. Another letter explained more. The woman had worked hard, saved money secretly, and placed important documents inside the house. She feared losing everything she had built. She believed that one day, someone with the same name would find these papers and understand the truth. Anna paused. Her hands trembled slightly. The documents were legal records. They showed ownership, savings, and investments connected to the house. The property was not worthless. It was connected to land rights and old agreements that had grown in value over time. The ruined house was only the surface. Beneath it was something much greater. Anna leaned back in her chair, feeling overwhelmed. Her family had known. They must have known. That was why they gave her this house so easily. They thought it was still useless, still forgotten. They never expected her to look closely. Outside, footsteps approached. Anna froze. Someone was coming toward the house. She quickly placed the papers back into the box and closed it. She hid it under the table just as a knock echoed through the door. The sound was soft but firm. Anna opened the door slowly. A man stood outside, holding a small bag of tools. He looked kind but cautious. He introduced himself as Ben, a worker sent by the local office to check abandoned properties. He explained that he was making sure the house was safe and not a danger to anyone nearby. Anna nodded and invited him inside. Ben looked around with interest. He commented on the structure, the strong foundation, and the quality of the old wood. He said the house had good bones, even if it looked broken on the outside. Anna listened carefully, her curiosity growing. Ben mentioned something else that caught her attention. He said there had been questions about this property years ago. He said some people tried to claim it, but failed due to missing documents. Anna kept her face calm, but her heart beat faster. She asked simple questions, pretending she knew nothing. Ben answered honestly. He said whoever had the right papers could prove ownership of more than just the house. There were connections to nearby land and shared resources. After Ben left, Anna locked the door and sat down again. Now she was sure. The box was not a coincidence. It was a message left for the right person. Anna spent the rest of the day organizing the papers carefully. She cleaned a small corner of the house and used it as a workspace. As she worked, she noticed how peaceful the house felt. Sunlight warmed the walls. The air felt lighter. Memories returned to her again, but this time they felt different. She remembered how her family treated her after her parents were gone. Always polite, never warm. Always distant, never supportive. They spoke kindly in public, but made decisions without her. This house was supposed to be another way to push her aside. Instead, it became her chance. That evening, Anna decided to visit the town office. She dressed simply and carried only copies of the documents. She did not want to risk losing the originals. At the office, she spoke with a woman named Mary, who listened patiently and reviewed the papers. Mary's expression changed as she read. She confirmed that the documents were real. She confirmed that the property rights were still valid. She said Anna would need time and proper steps, but the value connected to the house was significant. Anna thanked her and left quietly. On the walk back, Anna felt something she had not felt in years. Confidence. She returned to the house after sunset. This time, the darkness did not scare her. She lit the lamp and sat at the table again, thinking carefully. She knew that once her family discovered the truth, things would change. They would question her. They would pressure her. They might even try to take control again. Anna decided she would not rush. Over the next few days, she stayed in the house and began small repairs. She cleaned rooms, fixed what she could, and made the place livable. Each day, the house seemed to respond, becoming warmer and brighter. People in town started to notice. Neighbors passed by and greeted her. Some were surprised to see someone living there again. They shared stories about the house, about the woman who once lived there and disappeared quietly. No one knew exactly what happened, only that she was wronged and never returned. Anna listened carefully. One afternoon, her cousin Leo appeared at the gate. He acted friendly but curious. He asked how she was managing. He looked around with sharp eyes, measuring everything. Anna smiled politely and said she was fine. Leo mentioned the house was worth nothing and joked that she might leave soon. Anna nodded calmly. She did not argue. She did not explain. After he left, Anna locked the gate and sat inside, feeling stronger than ever. She realized silence was her shield. That night, she opened the box again and read the last letter. The letter was short. It said that the house would protect the truth until the right person arrived. It said family does not always mean fairness. It said strength sometimes grows in quiet places. It ended with a simple line telling her to stand firm. Anna folded the letter and placed it back carefully. She looked around the room and smiled softly. The ruined house was no longer just an inheritance. It was a test. And she was passing it. She did not know yet how the truth would come out or how people would react. But she knew one thing clearly now. The house chose her. And she was ready for what came next. Anna woke early as sunlight entered the room through the clean window she had fixed the day before. The house no longer felt like a burden. It felt steady. Each morning brought a small sense of order, and with it, confidence grew quietly inside her. She began her days with simple routines. She cleaned, cooked basic meals, and repaired what she could using simple tools. The sound of her footsteps filled the rooms, replacing the long silence that once lived there. The house seemed to welcome her presence. News travels fast in a small town. Within a week, more people started passing by the property. Some stopped to greet her. Others only watched from a distance. A few offered help. Anna thanked them politely and accepted only what she truly needed. She remained careful with her words and actions. Inside her mind, she was planning. She knew her family would not stay silent for long. They would sense something had changed. They would feel it even before seeing proof. People who believe they are in control often sense when that control begins to slip. One afternoon, Anna received a message asking her to attend a family gathering. The message sounded friendly, almost caring. She read it twice and placed the phone down. She knew the reason was not kindness. It was curiosity. She decided to go. Anna arrived at the gathering wearing simple clothes. She did not dress to impress. She dressed to feel calm. The room was filled with familiar faces, voices layered with forced warmth. Conversations stopped briefly when she entered, then resumed with louder laughter. She greeted everyone with respect and took a seat near the edge of the room. Soon, questions began. They asked how she was managing. They asked if the house was still standing. They joked about repairs costing more than the place was worth. Anna listened carefully and answered softly. She said she was doing fine. She said the house was quiet. She said she was learning a lot. Her calm unsettled them. Her aunt leaned forward and asked if she planned to sell the property. Anna smiled gently and said she had no plans yet. Her uncle suggested she move closer to town. Anna thanked him for his concern and said she liked where she was. Leo watched her closely from across the room. After some time, the conversation shifted. Someone mentioned property records. Someone else spoke about old land disputes. The words floated casually, but the intention was sharp. Anna said nothing. Silence became her shield. When she returned home that evening, Anna felt tired but steady. She knew they were testing her. They were waiting for a reaction. They would not get one. Over the next days, Anna met again with Mary at the town office. Together, they reviewed steps carefully. Everything had to be done correctly. Every paper had to be verified. Time was important, but patience was more important. Anna followed every rule. As paperwork progressed, small changes appeared around the house. Workers arrived to inspect the land nearby. Markers were placed quietly. Neighbors began whispering. The truth was rising slowly, like water finding its path. One morning, Anna noticed a car parked outside her gate. A man stepped out, holding a folder. He introduced himself as a representative from a local office. He spoke respectfully and confirmed that her claim was strong. He said she should expect official notices soon. Anna thanked him and closed the gate. Inside the house, she sat down and breathed deeply. The weight she had carried for years began to lift. Not all at once, but enough to feel the difference. That night, Anna opened the box again. She reread the letters with fresh eyes. The woman before her had faced similar doubts, similar pressure. She had chosen patience over fear. Anna felt a quiet connection, like a shared understanding across time. The next week brought the first clear sign of trouble. Leo arrived again, this time with less warmth. He asked direct questions. He asked if she had spoken to officials. He warned her about misunderstandings and mistakes. He suggested family discussions to clear things up. Anna listened calmly. She told him she was handling things legally and peacefully. She told him she valued honesty. She told him she hoped everyone would respect the process. Leo left frustrated. After that, messages came more often. Calls were missed. Voices grew tense. Anna responded less and less. She stayed focused on her work and her space. One evening, a letter arrived at the house. It was official. It confirmed her rights to the property and its connected value. It stated clearly that ownership was hers alone. Anna held the letter for a long time. She did not celebrate loudly. She did not rush to tell anyone. She folded the letter carefully and placed it in the box with the others. She understood now that power did not need noise. The house felt different that night. Warmer. Safer. As if it had been waiting for this moment. The following day, her aunt visited unexpectedly. She spoke softly but with urgency. She said the family wanted to talk. She said mistakes were made. She said they could fix things together. Anna listened respectfully. She thanked her aunt for coming. She said she appreciated honesty. She said the past could not be changed, but the future could be handled fairly. She did not argue. She did not accuse. She simply stated the truth. Her aunt left quietly. Days passed. The town slowly accepted the change. People spoke openly now. They praised Anna's patience. They respected her strength. Some apologized for believing old stories. Others simply nodded in understanding. Anna continued improving the house. She painted walls, repaired doors, and planted small plants in the yard. Each improvement felt like a promise kept. One evening, as the sun set behind the trees, Anna sat on the front step and watched the light fade. The ruined house no longer looked ruined. It looked lived in. It looked protected. She realized something important. The shock was not just what was found inside the house. The real shock was who she became because of it. She had not raised her voice. She had not fought openly. She had not begged for fairness. She had stood quietly and let truth speak. And truth spoke clearly. As darkness settled, Anna stood and entered the house. She closed the door behind her and smiled softly. Whatever came next, she knew she could face it. The house had given her more than security. It had given her strength. The next morning began quietly. Anna woke to the sound of birds outside the window and the soft light moving across the floor. The house felt settled now, like it had finally accepted her fully. She prepared a simple breakfast and sat at the table, reading through her notes for the day. There was work to do, calls to make, and plans to shape carefully. As she stepped outside, she noticed something new. A small notice had been placed near the gate. It was official and respectful, informing neighbors that the land around the house was under review for future development. Anna read it calmly. This was expected. The truth was no longer hidden. By midday, visitors began to arrive. First came neighbors with kind words. They congratulated her quietly and shared stories about the old days. They spoke about the woman who once lived there, how she worked hard and trusted too easily. Some admitted they had stayed silent when things went wrong. Anna listened without judgment. She knew silence often came from fear. Later, a car stopped outside the house that made her pause. It belonged to her family. Two people stepped out. Her aunt and her uncle. They walked slowly toward the gate, their faces serious. Anna felt no anger. She felt prepared. She opened the gate and greeted them politely. They sat inside the living area, where the house looked clean and warm now. Sunlight touched the walls Anna had painted herself. The change was clear. Her uncle spoke first. He said the family had been shocked by recent discoveries. He said misunderstandings had happened long ago. He said they wanted to resolve things peacefully. Anna listened. Her aunt added that the house was never meant to cause pain. She said decisions were made quickly in difficult times. She said they believed the property had no value. She avoided Anna's eyes as she spoke. Anna thanked them for coming. She spoke calmly and clearly. She said she understood fear and mistakes. She said she believed in fairness. She said the past could not be undone, but respect in the present mattered. She explained that everything she had done was legal and transparent. She said she wanted no conflict. She wanted truth and space to build her life. The room remained quiet. Her uncle nodded slowly. He said they would respect her position. He said the family would step back. There was relief in his voice, mixed with regret. When they left, Anna stood at the door and watched them walk away. She felt lighter than she expected. That evening, Anna received another official letter. This one confirmed the next steps. The land connected to the house would be developed carefully, with her full involvement. The value was now undeniable. Her future was no longer uncertain. She placed the letter beside the others and closed the box. Over the next weeks, activity increased around the property. Inspectors arrived. Meetings were held. Plans were discussed. Anna stayed involved but calm. She asked questions and listened closely. She learned more than she ever imagined she would. She also learned something else. People treated her differently now. Not because of money or land, but because of how she carried herself. She spoke clearly. She listened deeply. She did not rush. Respect followed naturally. One afternoon, Anna found a small notebook hidden behind a loose board in the hallway. It was old but well kept. Inside were notes written by the woman from the photographs. They spoke about patience, about watching quietly, about trusting time more than people. Anna smiled as she read. She added her own note at the end. She wrote that the house had kept its promise. She wrote that silence had been powerful. She wrote that she would protect what had been left behind. As weeks turned into months, the house changed even more. Repairs were completed. The yard became green again. Children from nearby homes passed by and waved. The place that once felt avoided now felt alive. One evening, Anna sat on the front step and watched the sun lower behind the trees. She thought about her journey. She thought about the fear she once felt standing at the gate for the first time. She thought about how small she had felt then. She felt different now. Not louder. Not harder. Stronger. A letter arrived just before nightfall. It was from Mary at the town office. It confirmed that everything was finalized. The house and its connected value were fully secured under Anna's name. There were no disputes left. Anna closed her eyes for a moment and breathed deeply. She did not rush to celebrate. She stood, walked inside, and placed the letter in the box. Then she closed the cabinet and locked it gently. Later that night, she lit a lamp and sat quietly. The house was peaceful. The walls held warmth. The floor no longer creaked in warning, only in familiarity. Anna realized something important. The shock everyone expected was not anger or revenge. It was her calm. It was her patience. It was her refusal to become bitter. That was what unsettled people the most. As she prepared for sleep, Anna looked around the room one last time. The house no longer felt like a ruined gift. It felt like a lesson passed carefully from one life to another. The past had knocked again. This time, Anna answered without fear.